Why do Italians drive so crazy? So today we're gonna talk about something that my students literally ask me every day, which is why Italians drive in such a crazy way and also how they can survive every day, basically. So let's start reacting to two videos. So this first one is in Amalfi, in the Amalfi Coast. And basically, as you can see, the problem is that the streets are very, very narrow. There's a car that is blocked there, and I think there isn't enough room for everyone. Hence the chaos. And then, if you look at this video this is in Napoli, the main problem is that people are just doing whatever they want. So there aren't rules. It just feels like everyone is just going with the flow, and everyone is a bit like, just flexible with the driving. So yeah, let's talk about why Italians drive the way they drive. I personally have two main reasons. So if you think about the first video that we saw, the main problem is that cities, when they were built, they weren't designed for cars. They were probably made for horses or carts, but definitely not for cars. Not even literally like small cars like the one that was in the video. So the main problem is that if you want to drive too many cars or if there's too much traffic, then everything becomes like stuck, basically. And then the second reason why Italians drive the way they drive, I think is more cultural. I think in general, Italian culture is pretty flexible. This means that basically the way we drive also mirrors this flexibility. Or more than flexible, the problem is that I think people in Italy just do whatever they want. So basically everyone ends up just, driving the way they want. They go with the flow. And the main rule, I would say, when you drive in Italy is that there is no rule. Literally, there is no rule. You just do whatever you want, and you kind of, again, you follow what others are doing. So you have to be alert for sure, but also you have to be very, very flexible. Also, another important thing is that Italians all over Italy drive in a different way, meaning the north, the center, and the south are very different. In the north, generally speaking, people are a bit more careful with the driving. It's not as crazy, let's say. And also the streets are a bit wider. But even if you go to specific areas, for example, you go to Como, there are some narrow streets. So in that case, you might have the same problem that we saw in the video in the Amalfi Coast. But then, if you go to central Italy and southern Italy, I think that's where the madness starts. So people drive in a more crazy way. And so that's when you might feel a little bit uncomfortable driving in Italy. I'm sure that if you drive in Italy for the first time, it might feel a little bit overwhelming and a little bit shocking. But Italians drive like that every day. This means that if you grew up doing that, for example, I grew up driving in Italy and it was crazy. For me, that was normality. So it's just a matter of getting used to this different driving style. So my question for you now is, have you ever driven in Italy? If so, where did you drive? Was it in the north, in the center, or in the south of Italy? And how was your experience? Fammi sapere. Ciao!